All right, let's get this show on the road. Hello, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Remind everyone the board does not write the zoning ordinance, but does have the authority to grant relief from where practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship would result. The board will vote on each agenda item following a public hearing. Use variance requests require a minimum of 6 affirmative votes in order to grant the request variances. Non-use variance requests require a minimum of 5 affirmative votes in order to grant the variances. If you'd like to request that the board table or adjourn your case due to the absence of a full board, which tonight we are unfortunately down one person, you must inform the chairperson immediately after the public hearing. Petitioners shall do their best to limit presentations to 10 minutes. Each participant in the hearing shall do their best to limit comments to 3 minutes. All right, so as stated, we're down one person. The first item is approval of minutes for June 11th, 2026 meeting.
Mr. Chair, we noticed a minor error on page 3, public comment 6, where it mentions you as the chair last month and you were not here. So I'd like to make a motion to amend page 3, the public comment section, to replace your part of that.
Is there a second? Okay. Any other discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of the change signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Is there then a motion to approve the minutes? Go ahead, Mr. Clapp.
I'll now make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second? All right, Mr. Reddy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll move on to unfinished business. Case number 26-05-10. This is on 29350 Woodward Avenue. Whenever you're ready.
This case was obviously postponed at the end of last month, but obviously since we had a couple board members absent, I think it would be wise to go through it again just to make sure everyone's up to date with what's being requested. So this site is a multiple family residential complex, and it's located at the southeast corner of Woodward Avenue and Benjamin Avenue. And as a bit of background, this situation began as a code enforcement issue back in July of 2025 for the refuse containers to be relocated to the north end of the rear parking lot, which is this area that I boxed in and read in the aerial photographs on now page 43 and 42 on your packets. The city unfortunately does not have any original site plan on file for this location, which did note the location of the existing refuse or recycling containers. But for several decades, they were located between the two buildings right behind the courtyard and the pool. At some point then, between 2002 and 2005, the petitioner did remove a segment of asphalt and installed a reinforced concrete pad in the parking lot between the two buildings. And then obviously recently the containers were relocated to their current area and new parking spaces were painted in the prior location, which was between the two buildings. Now section 70-90I of the city's zoning ordinance does contain the specific provisions as they pertain to refuse containers. So staff, of course, is unable to administratively approve this new location since it fails to comply with several provisions under this section of the zoning ordinance. The new location of the dumpsters would require a modified site plan to be reviewed and approved by the city's planning commission. And that proposal was heard by the planning commission at their meeting this past March, which they denied. So the petitioner is now seeking the applicable variances from these provisions of the zoning ordinance, which are listed in your packets, which I'll go through now. So first, it states that the waste containers have to be in a consolidated location, and they should be an equal distance between multiple buildings that may exist on site. So staff did point out in the past that the petitioner, as well as the tenants, would be best served with a consolidated number of containers with a greater pickup frequency at the prior location, which was between the two buildings. So the new plans that are showed this month obviously still wouldn't comply with this provision, as the dumpsters are still in an isolated location at the north corner of the property. So among all the plans that have been put forth at this point in time, a variance would still be needed from this provision. The zoning ordinance also states that the waste containers, as well as their enclosures, have to be located as far away from the public view as possible, as well as maintain the maximum possible distance away from adjacent residential uses. And of course, the purpose of this is to prevent any type of excessive nuisance to nearby properties. So obviously this proposed location is directly along the property lines, which is in proximity to the nearby residences. And the city's code enforcement did note several times that there were instances of overflowing waste coming from these receptacles, which did cause observable off-site impacts. Part of the Planning Commission's denial was also based upon the fact that the proposed location was not located as far away from the public view as possible, and it also was not the maximum distance away from the nearby residences. They also did base their denial on the fact that the proposed location would also not present any type of excessive nuisance to nearby property owners as well. So again, staff did note that the prior location between the two buildings as well would also technically be the maximum distance away from those adjacent residential uses. So the petitioner is seeking variances from those 2 points as well, which are B and C in your packets. And then lastly, the zoning ordinance also does require that a concrete pad of an appropriate thickness be located beneath the receptacles. And the purpose of this, of course, is to handle the constant stresses of pickup and drop off. So as displayed in the photographs, this is missing, so a variance is required from this provision as well. So to summarize, staff did identify that there is a possible alternative configuration for the refuse containers on site that would comply with the applicable zoning ordinance standards and would of course be eligible for administrative approval. So I would ask that the board examine this case based upon the petitioner's ability to demonstrate their conformity with the non-use variance criteria, and efforts really shouldn't be taken to try to design or redesign this proposal for the petitioner. And then from a procedural standpoint, even if all the variances were approved tonight, the petitioner would still be required to reapply for a new site plan review before the city's planning commission. And the petitioner did also provide a new letter and exhibits, which we did include in the front of your packets. And as mentioned in the staff memo, these modified plans would of course have no bearing on the variances listed in the report. Thank you.
Questions for, yes, Mr. Lineweber first.
Alex, the packet that I printed out a couple of days ago shows a different site plan than the one that the petitioner just recently did.
That was,
So the one that we're looking at for request is the one that is in the packet today.
that was the most recent submittal provided to the staff from the petitioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf.
So just to add to this, what was submitted a couple days ago still would, like, none of the variances that this new plan would, or let me rephrase, this new plan would not cancel out any of the variances that are
It
required.
does not eliminate the need for any of the variances listed in your reports.
Okay, and then again, I know you said this last month again, but just for the record, what is the recourse that the applicant may have if we were to deny this, and what would be the what are the ways forward if it gets approved and if it gets denied?
If the variance were to be, if all variances were approved tonight, like I said in the presentation, the petitioner would still have to go back to the planning commission for another revised site plan approval. If it were denied, essentially it would be the end of it, because the petitioner would have exhausted all their city affiliated processes that could be available to them.
Awesome, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, the petitioner is present. You may come forward at this time and present your case.
Hi, my name is Seth Tompkins. I'm the attorney for the petitioner. Before I get into the presentation in chief, I feel that it's important that we clarify a couple things. It's always my position when I go into these things that staff isn't supposed to put their thumb on the scale. They're not supposed to give a biased report. And unfortunately, Mr. Murphy said it once, and Mr. Bohorski said it at the last meeting, and this meeting again, saying that it's been several decades since the north end of this property was used for refuse disposal. That is patently false. It's shown as patently false in the photographs that I've shown you, that as recently as 8 or 9 years ago, there have been refuse containers on the north end of the property, and as far back as 1974, there were refuse containers on the far end of the property. Also, I want to make it clear that because there were refuse containers on the north end of the property established going back at least 50 years, and no site plans were required to put refuse containers on the north end of the property, there is no need for we're not asking for a use variance. We have the right to use the north end of the property for rubbish. That's not what we're asking today, okay? We don't, I know that it was the city's position that we were required to have a site plan review. That is absolutely false, because we were allowed to have refuse containers on the north end of the property prior to site plan approval being required for property owners. And again, this property was built in 1963. So they've been using the north end of the property for refuse for decades. And for the continued lie to say it's been several decades since refuse was put on the north end of the property, that it's just, I mean, it is demonstrably false by the documents that I've already provided you. Lastly, one of the variances that are in there that says that we're not requesting a variance from putting this on a pad. In fact, on the site plans that we gave to you in the enclosure, it contains an enclosure that will be completely compliant with all of the building codes and will have an appropriate pad for the dumpsters that we want to put in there, okay? So the request that we're making tonight, and that we've always been making, is for a building variance, because we already have the right to put the dumpsters there. We want to make it so that it looks nice. We want to change the dumpsters, because the dumpsters that my client's been stuck with since they bought the property are horrible dumpsters, and I can get into that also. So I'm going to give you a little history first about what my clients dealt with respect to these dumpsters for the past couple years. I've got to look at some notes. So the dumpsters in the center where they have been, and they were there, but my client will also be able to testify if we have to go to the next step, which is not, this, last thing, this is not our last step. If we're denied here based on the 4 factors that we have to prove, which I think are absolutely in our favor on every single one of those factors, then the next step is go to the circuit court, okay? So we may have exhausted all of our administrative remedies with respect to the city, but our next step is to the circuit court, where we show that this was established and that we met all of the factors. So this all started several years ago when my clients were having problems with the dumpsters. The tops of the dumpsters, when they got, these dumpsters are GFL dumpsters. You can look at them, they're GFL dumpsters, okay? What's interesting is GFL is not the contractor for the city and hasn't been for many, many years. So this caused issues for my clients. The dumpsters were in terrible condition, the tops were broken. My clients would call GFL and they would say, we sold these dumpsters and this route to Allied Waste many years ago. My clients would call Allied Waste and say, these aren't our dumpsters, we can't fix them. So that went on for 1.5 years until finally I got a hold of a fantastic guy with the city, with the Department of Public Works, Lee Collick. And he straightened this whole thing out, okay? We were able to contact Priority Waste. They were able to acknowledge that the dumpsters were there. They came and repaired the tops of the dumpsters, and we were able to arrange for a twice-a-week pickup because those dumpsters were overflowing. I'm gonna explain why also, because these dumpsters, these six-yard dumpsters that are there right now are horribly designed. And that's one of the issues that causes the problems with the dumpsters. And it's one of the reasons that we want to change things. And in my most recent packet that I gave you, and the solution that we've come up with, I think is a very good solution. So we would like to replace these 6 dumpsters with 2 10-yard dumpsters, not from Allied Waste. My client has contacted Runco, which has agreed to come twice a week and put in new dumpsters, 2 for refuse, 1 for recycling, okay? And the dumpsters that are present, and my client's contractor is here, and he might speak to you guys during the 3-minute sessions, but the dumpsters that we presently have are built kind of like this. So what happens is, once one side gets filled up, it looks like the dumpster's completely full. but then you have to go to the back. But there's no accessibility to the back of these dumpsters. They're horribly designed dumpsters. The new dumpsters don't have that issue, okay? You can fill them and fill them and fill them, and they're not gonna start overflowing because of the stupid design. So I think that that's significant. So since my clients bought this property, they put a lot of money into it. And when my clients purchased the property originally, the pool was not in use because the property was in such a condition that the pool could not be used. But because of the improvements that my clients made to the property, the pool area now is used by a lot of the residents and a lot of their kids. And having the dumpsters where they are right now causes a safety issue. Not only because that's where all of the kids walk past in order to go to the pool, but, and some of my clients' residents are here, they're gonna testify, or hopefully they'll tell you about the dangers that the trucks have to go into when they're trying to pull into the space in order to get these dumpsters out. There's just not enough room where the dumpsters are for the trucks to safely remove those dumpsters and put them back there. So my client has proposed, they contacted while this was all going on, and Priority Waste was pointing to GFL, and GFL was pointing to Priority Waste. My client got a hold of Lee Colick, and Lee Colick is the one, through your Department of Public Works, that put the dumpsters at this specific location. And they did it at the direction of Chris Anetta, who is with your code enforcement people. So these dumpsters in the location were chosen by the city and put there by the city. So, and it makes you wonder, like, why would the code enforcement guy tell DPW, put it there? Because he knows there's been use on the north end of the property on and off for 50-something years. So what we're asking for is to allow us to build a nice structure around some new dumpsters. We want to put in 3 10-yard dumpsters instead of put in where we have 2 10-yard dumpsters that are for refuse and 1 for recycling. And we want to put in a nice enclosure. I mean, you can see there's a rendering, but there's also, it should be there at the top of the site plans. It actually has, the dimensions and the footings and everything that's required for this enclosure. What we did add to the most recent set of plans is some landscaping to go around the outside of the enclosure to make it more aesthetically pleasing, right? So my clients are really trying hard to make sure that that these dumpsters are not going to cause an issue for any adjacent property owners. I understand that these people have some issues from the next door neighbors. They have issues with the dumpsters. I would too, because they're not enclosed. I would too, because there's 6 horribly designed dumpsters there. But what we're proposing is not leaving 6 horribly designed dumpsters out in the open. We want to put better dumpsters, newer dumpsters in an enclosure. And so we have to look at the 4 factors that you're really supposed to look at to determine whether or not we're entitled to this variance. The first one being, are the ordinance restrictions, do they unreasonably prevent us from using the property for a permitted purpose? Okay? As previously stated, we have a right to use the north end of the property for refuse. If you deny us the right to put the enclosure around it, then that is an unreasonable restriction. You should allow us to put the same city-mandated enclosure around our dumpsters that everyone else has. And that would significantly help this entire situation. The second one is, will the variance do substantial justice to the applicant as well as to other property owners in the district? And would a lesser relaxation than requested not provide substantial relief? And I think that this factor also is strongly in our favor. We have, like I said, we've redesigned this plan to add more landscaping around it so that it's not just a big brick block there, but actually has some plant life around it. I think what's interesting is that we're not asking to put this right next to someone else's property. We're asking to put this next to someone else's trash receptacles. Because if you actually look at the drawings, the proposed space for these trash receptacles are right next to the existing trash receptacles of the adjacent property owner, which somehow was allowed to put their trash receptacles right on their property line, you know, not right in front of where they live. They were allowed to put it off to the side. We're just asking to put our trash next to their trash. The third factor is the plight of the landowner is unique to the circumstances of the property. Okay? This is a very old development. This has been here for a long time. This predates any zoning ordinances dealing with trash receptacles. While there are older buildings in the city, there's not a significant amount of them that are going to have this exact problem. So it's not like you're going to have a lot of people popping up and saying, oh, well, we want to move our trash receptacles also because we fit into this little neat little box. This is a very unique circumstance where you have long-term use of trash receptacles on the north end of the property, and we never were allowed to put a trash enclosure around it. Okay? That's what we're looking to do. The last one is the alleged hardship was not created by any person presently having an interest in the property. You know that my clients had nothing to do with this present situation that they're in. This is a situation where the laws changed around the property. And so all we're trying to do is ask for a variance to allow us to build this enclosure around some dumpsters. And I think that that would satisfy whatever hardship is perceived by the neighbors. I think that that will go away. When you have a nice enclosure around these dumpsters, they're on a pad. We're not asking for a variance to put it on just on the ground. We want to build, in accordance with the building code, a proper enclosure, which would include the proper pads. So I don't know why that's in the request also, because we never asked for that. I just think it's, I think it's unfortunate that we come to this point where there's been like so much acrimony on this, because what we're really trying to do is just improve the property, and we're trying to improve the situation, not just for us, but for the adjacent neighbors, for the across the street neighbors, and for everybody else. And I've come here, this is my third time. The first two times that I was here, I've had to have people call me scumbag. You know, I don't need that. Now, I'm just sitting here trying to do a job for a client. And I think it's very disingenuous when you have one party saying, your trash isn't good enough to put next to our trash. I mean, there's an old saying that is a little profane, and I don't want to say it on the record, but I'm sure you all know what it is. You know, their trash, our trash doesn't smell, but your trash does. You know, it's one of these situations. And so, because of the safety situation on where the dumpsters were originally, not originally, but were, you know, a year ago. No one knows where they were originally. There was no site plan originally, you know, so no one knows where they were originally. Again, I do have a picture from 1974 showing a trash receptacle on the north end of the property, and there's nothing between the two buildings. So who's not to say that this wasn't the original spot for the trash receptacles? But where the trash receptacles were in between the two buildings causes a safety issue when the trucks come and get it. Causes a safety issue for the kids that walk past it to go to the pool. It's an aesthetic problem with having these 6 dumpsters for all of the residents to walk past in order to go to these pools. You know, putting it out to the side, putting it next to the other trash receptacles, I think that makes the most sense. And I think that we meet all 4 of the factors. And so I know that now this is my 3rd time here. I've heard this board discuss, you know, is it right to try to bend one of these factors in order to allow a variance? And there's been some debate on that, and I've heard it. And sometimes it seems like maybe a factor was interpreted a little more broadly to allow a variance. What I don't think should happen is, I don't think that you should ignore the factors in order to deny a variance, okay, where all of the factors are met. And so I think that that's something that really needs, I know, you're gonna hear people, you already heard it from a bunch of people, you're gonna hear the adjacent property owners saying, we don't want that trash can there, okay? But we meet all the factors on the variance, and so we should be granted this variance. We should be allowed to put the 3 larger dumpsters in the new dumpster enclosure Obviously, we will have to submit the site plan, we will have to pull all of the permits, we will have to meet all of your building codes, but it makes sense to put it there, in the north end of the property, where they've always been allowed to have trash, okay? So, there were some petitions that went around, and I had already given Alex some for people that couldn't be here. These are additional signatures. May I approach? Thanks. I just got these tonight. These are from residents of, and the actual letter that accompanied that I had already sent to Alex, and they're basically signatures in support of allowing this variance and allowing us to put the trash receptacles at the new location in an enclosure. So there are some people here from the community, the apartment complex that will be speaking tonight, but there are many, many others that could not be here tonight, and all of them are in support of this. So I guess in conclusion, I know that larger apartment complexes in many municipalities are, I don't think it's right, but I know that they're treated differently. I know that their residents are sometimes treated as transient, as not real parts of the community. And I will say that I've talked to many of these people here today. Many of these people are longtime residents. Many of these people have lived in the city for 10, 15, 20 years in the same apartment complex. And so I don't want there to be any bias towards my client or the residents because they are in a larger apartment complex. I just think that that would be shameful. So please just concentrate on the 4 factors that we have met in making your decision. And I do have owners' representatives here if you want to talk to them. Maria or Zeph, do you want to come on up? Maria, why don't you come on up? If you have any questions about property management, prior to the most recent encounters that we've had with the city, this has been a property that has had no enforcement issues with the city. So these are good operators. They put a lot of money into it. This is Maria. Her and her husband own the property, and she's here to answer any questions that you might have. And I can answer any ones that I might be able to also.
Thank you. Mr. Wolf, I saw your hand up first, and then we'll come to this side.
Okay. I've got 4 questions for the both of you. The first one is, Maria, when did you and your husband buy the property?
2015, 14, 15.
Okay, so 20, like
yeah.
about 10 years. And we're not supposed to count how much, like we're not supposed to take financial consideration into this, but how much have you spent to update the property approximately?
My husband can speak better on that. Hundreds of thousands.
Okay.
Hundreds
Hundreds of thousands. Okay, that's fine. I'm just curious. So.
I can have a report for you from my CPA if you need.
Oh no. I'm asking because I just want to know. You're saying that you've invested a lot, and I work in real estate, so I just want to.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Not just the money, but our time too. So, and we just want to make it nice. That's
Sure. So I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So you said you're going to withdraw variance D, which is the requirement of a concrete pad. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, because it's going to be built on a proper concrete pad. It's in the actual site plan that we gave you. That enclosure, they will have to build that in conformity with the city code.
Okay.
We weren't looking to get out of the actual building out of any of the requirements for the actual enclosure itself. We just want to put it there.
Right, and I understand that. I just wanted it to be crystal clear that you're withdrawing variance D.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, no problem. Okay. Number 3, this is more of a technical question more than anything else. You called them a 10-yard dumpster. However, I'm reading the whole enclosure as 24 feet, so that's 8 yards. And if each dumpster is going to be 10 yards, I just want a little more information on that.
Nick, come on up. Nick, come on up. Nick put together the plans. I'm
Sure.
just a lawyer. I'm not a builder.
That's why I'm asking the question.
All right, so to answer that question, I think you're looking at it at yards as in like football field, 10 yards long, 30 feet.
Oh, they're cubic
This
yards.
is cubic yards. So
Cubic yard. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's
I
not
could have
gonna
probably
be-
answered that. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
cubic
I'm
yards.
trying to be like, that math doesn't make sense. Okay, and then the last question is, I see two apartment complexes, and I'm assuming that they're connected in some way, shape, or form on page 8 of the packet, which is on the screen there.
Yeah.
The southern building, where are their trash enclosures?
It's the same trash enclosure.
Okay, so are they going to walk across the entire parking lot to throw their trash out?
Happily. Yes.
Okay. Those are my questions. I just wanted to ask.
Yes.
Mr. Reddy, then Mr. Lineweber.
I guess, first of all, I agree with you that it's unfortunate that some of the discussion has been acrimonious, and I can just say personally, this decision is just going to come down to the 4 criteria that we have, and I think unfortunately for you, I don't think I will be considering the history, considering our section 115, which reads that should such structure be moved for any reason, for any distance, whatever, it shall thereafter conform to the regulations of the zone in which it was moved. Oh, sorry, I meant 116. Any structure or structures and land in combination in or on which a non-conforming use is superseded by a permitted use shall thereafter conform to the regulations pertaining to the uses permitted in the zone in which such structure is located. And that there's no reference to abandonment in that section of our, I know the cases that you cited. I'm just letting you,
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't think a trash receptacle is a structure. It
Okay.
is a trash can. The structure that we're asking, the structural waiver that we're asking for is for the enclosure. That is a structure. A trash can is not a structure.
Okay, well, in any way, I'm just letting you know, okay, so that's part of the question you've answered right there. So
I
going
just don't think that
forward,
section applies because a trash can is not a structure.
Okay.
A structure.
but we are still going to be considering the 3 variances. I know I'm personally going to have difficulty with a couple of them because of the way they're written. They seem quite clear. So my question is, do you want us to consider all 3 as a group, or do you want them to be considered separately if 1 would pass and 2 would not?
I don't have a copy of the agenda. It
So
wasn't
there-
out, so you'd have to repeat them to me.
Okay, let's see.
Chair, if you would like
So,
to.
one is that they are consolidated to minimize the number of collection sites so as to reasonably equalize the distance from the building they serve. And then B is waive the requirement that the containers and enclosures shall be located away from public view insofar as possible and on that side, which is opposite or at the maximum distance possible from adjacent residential uses. And C, waive the requirement that the containers and enclosures shall be situated so that they do not cause excessive nuisance or offense to occupants of nearby buildings.
I mean, I think for our request, you have to have all 3 of them,
Okay.
otherwise it doesn't work,
Okay,
you know?
that was the question.
Yeah.
Mr. Lineweber.
A couple of questions. There is a site or location on the site that complies with all the requirements from the city, and that's been presented to you from staff. It appears that that location has been in use for some years, or had been. When I look at the Google Earth aerials that you've provided, but go on to Google Earth, you can see that the location that is shown in your exhibits are primarily a roll-off dumpster, which is a construction dumpster. Open top, generally temporary in use. The other site, which presumably is the one next to the pool, going all the way back to, as far as I can see on the Google Earth, has been in use as the dumpster location. And there's multiple dumpsters at that location. So apparently the building had survived for many years with the dumpsters in that location. I don't see an enclosure, but the dumpsters themselves are located in that position.
The dumpsters were also located in that position.
Well, the only image that I saw of the dumpsters, other than the ones that you've moved, was an open-top construction roll-off dumpster.
There's the 1974 picture also that shows a trash receptacle on the north end of the property.
Okay. My question is why not put them in the location that complies?
Well, as I tried to explain, when the garbage truck comes in there to pick up those dumpsters, there's not enough room. It's unsafe. They have to drive through the parking lot and over parking spaces in order to get to those dumpsters. There's just not sufficient. You can look at it.
Carports are right behind them too, like
I'm sorry?
the carports right there too.
Right. The carports are, it's not safe. There is a safety issue.
So in the aerial from 2015, there are 5 dumpsters clearly shown, angled at about a 45-degree angle. So that apparently was from the geometry. This is on Google Earth, so that's why, sorry. But historically, you can see how they've been serviced in that location.
Yes.
So it's just, you've got an alternative that works, and yet you don't want to explore that.
It was explored by these owners. They determined it to be unsafe for both the people in the parking lot and unsafe for the people that are now using the pool, which was not in use for many, many years because of the prior condition of the property. So perhaps if the prior owners of this property had maintained the property properly and had a pool there, they would have never put the dumpsters there in the first place. You know, if this was your pool, would you want your children walking past dumpsters in order to get to the pool?
Well, the issue with the dumpsters, a large part from, as I'm gathering the info, is a servicing issue. It's the frequency, as you mentioned, it's the type of dumpster, which is the owner's responsibility. But the general condition that's been demonstrated in photos is it's a behavioral thing. It's not a functional thing. In other words, if it's more rapid emptying of the dumpsters, and that's the obligation of the owner of the building, is to maintain their property.
No, the dumpsters are being picked up twice a week right now. They don't need to talk right now. It's not their turn.
I'm just,
okay? We contacted, what days do they come?
What days do they come? Monday and Wednesday.
Monday and Wednesday? That's why we have to get RUNCO. They stopped coming.
That's why we have to get RUNCO.
So as an operational issue, my question is, have you explored more frequent emptying of the dumpster?
Well, we tried. I had a 30-minute conversation with a rep from Allied Waste once Lee got us in touch with the guy. And that was supposed to happen. So this is news to me that it's not happening because we were supposed to contract with them. They were sent over a contract. We signed the contract. As far as I knew, up until 3 seconds ago, they were coming twice a week. They were supposed to come twice a week. But if Allied isn't doing it, and that's the city's chosen, we have to go outside the city's chosen contractor. We found a separate contractor that's willing to do that. But we're still going to have the same issue with a safety issue, putting it right there and having a large truck come around, and it causes a problem all the time. That was the secondary reason on why they wanted to move it to the north end of the property. The primary reason was the safety issue for their residents and walking past the dumpsters to get to the pool. The secondary issue was the safety issue of the trucks coming and picking up the dumpsters.
So are you required by the city to use a particular company?
No, but that's where our taxes go to. And up until, like I said, up until 6 months ago, it was hard to get anyone to claim that they were their dumpsters in the first place.
Okay.
We went back and forth for a year and a half between Allied Waste and GFL, each pointing to each other saying it's their problem, not ours. So, no, we've been trying to resolve that, and we've just got the third solution, which is what we presented in our packet to you with the 2 10-yard refuse dumpsters and the 1 10-yard recycling dumpster.
So, a follow-up question, which maybe addresses both of those issues. The recycling that's there on site right now uses those bins that are used by the recycling company that pick up. You're proposing a different solution for that. You're going to have a dumpster for recycling?
RONCO will take care of all of the waste disposal and recycling.
So you have 2 dumpsters for trash and 1 dumpster for recycling. And those dumpsters are side-loaded or front-loaded, or how does that, you mentioned that it's a better.
They're front-loaded.
Front-loaded? With like a sliding door or something?
Hey, come on up here. Hey, come on up. Walk into the mic.
All right, so the dumpsters will be accessible from the side with sliding doors, and it's front load for the truck, which picks it up from the front and dumps it over the top.
Thank you. So your design that I'm seeing here does not, I don't think you'll fit 3 dumpsters in there, 1. 2 is if they're side-loaded, you have 0 access for the sides for those dumpsters.
No, an architect designed it so everything could fit, so.
I'm just looking
If you check
what's.
the measurements that RONCO gave, you just have to go through the file and see the measurements of the dumpsters that RONCO gave. It should be in the file.
Okay.
And
All
then,
right.
compare that to the width of the dumpster
Okay.
enclosure.
That's the last of my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Clapp?
Quick question. You mentioned the safety issue with residents traversing the parking lot. I see that because I don't see any, like a network of sidewalks on the back side of the building. I did notice there's a few entry points at the back side to gain access to the various buildings, but I also see internal sidewalks to the pool courtyard. Do the residents have to go out to the parking lot to get to the pool, or can they get to the pool from the building to that internal courtyard?
Those internal sidewalks are just on the drawing, they do not exist in the building. So the only entrance is on the back side of the building from the north side of the pool gate.
Okay, yeah, Google Earth does show some, I can't get into the pool area to see that. I drove the property, but I couldn't see that area, but it is showing sidewalks
It's
that
all the, it's
connect.
like, okay,
You gotta go
so
all the way around and go,
it's all the way
yeah, over there.
over there. That's the only way to get into the pool, on that side.
It's right next to the
So everybody have
south
to
door of the
walk
north
past
pool.
right that point where the dumpsters were, to walk through there. And
Another question I have is for Alex. So they can keep the dumpsters, and maybe you already mentioned this, they can, if they keep the dumpsters in the center by the pool, adjacent to the pool, are they required to erect an enclosure around those? Like Mr. Limember mentioned, they're on an angle. Do they have to build are they required to do that, or can they remain on grade as is without an enclosure? Is there anything that requires them to put an enclosure?
Yeah, so if it was to be removed, put back into the location between the 2 buildings, technically, yes, it would have to have an enclosure around it because it would trigger the need for it to now gain compliance where it previously was not.
So because they're at the north end now, if they put them back here, now they have to comply with?
Yep, so since there was an existing nonconformity on site, since it was changed or modified, it needs to now gain compliance with current zoning ordinance standards. If not, then variances would be required.
I think that the circuit court would find differently when it was the city of Royal Oak that moved the dumpsters in the first place. So, keep that in mind.
Last question, I assume this is already checked, but it looks like they'd lose 3 parking spaces. If they are allowed to place them at the north end, they'd lose some parking spaces. I assume the parking is still compliant without those
Correct.
spaces. Thank you.
We gained 10 parking spaces.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah, good point, correct.
Mr. Reddy, and that's Ms. Levitt.
I just have a quick question. We're talking about the safety of kids traversing through the parking lot to get to the pool with the entrance at the beginning of the north building. Are people not carrying trash, or is there a separate walkway for people to traverse the entire parking lot past the north building to get to those trash receptacles? If I'm carrying 2 bags of trash, am I walking all the way from that south end building through the parking lot, all the way to the north end for those dumpsters, or is there a separate walkway I'm not seeing?
Hold on. Hold on. You can come and talk when you get 3 minutes, okay? So there are walkways, number one, but number two, usually it's not kids walking around the parking lot with trash bags, you know? So that's our concern, is that this pool is used by families and children, all right? So I understand what you're saying, but it's not the same concern. Yes, you're gonna have people that are gonna have to walk a little bit longer to put their trash away, okay? But it's not like it's not miles. It's a couple hundred feet. So the safety concerns that we have are for the families and the kids that are using the pool. That is our primary concern. Our secondary concern are the fact when the trucks come in, they're large trucks and it's a narrow parking lot. And I understand that they were angled. It's not enough. It's not enough. They're almost hitting the back parking, the parking corrals every time that they take these things out. It's just a matter of time before they hit them, okay? So, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, someone's gonna have to walk an additional 150 feet to put the trash away. But we have strong support from the residents that this is what they want. You know, we don't have it's not our residents that are coming out here in opposition to it. You know, everyone knows this is happening tonight. We've got dozens and dozens of people that signed a petition in favor of it. We have dozens of people that are here that are going to talk to you tonight about what the current situation, what the prior situation was, and why it would be better to have the refuse pickup continue on the north end of the property in a proper trash enclosure.
Mr. Wright?
Sorry, I meant to ask this the first time. So I also wanted to thank you for the revisions you've made a few times. I think it does look nice, and I think you've listened to things people had to say and modified it, which is nice. But this question is, there's a lot of work being done to create this situation moving to the north. How much work would it be to just create another entrance on the south side of that fence? Doesn't seem like it would be that difficult.
Still have 6 trash receptacles that are sitting right next to the pool.
Correct, but I mean, from a safety point of view, people wouldn't have to walk past the trash to get into the pool. I know that was the main concern, so.
Well, it was the trash receptacles that they're adjacent to the pool.
I don't want any trash cans there. God forbid if there's a kid walking to the pool and they're dumping the trash and they drop the can on the kid.
Yeah, what I'm saying
Like-
is you could create another entrance to the pool on the south side so that people wouldn't have to walk past.
But why should those be there if that
That's
could
what the zoning
possibly
ordinance
happen?
says.
So
You know?
That's the zoning ordinance as it is now.
Like,
Okay, hold on.
I
That's the
mean-
zoning ordinance, hold on, Mary. That's the zoning ordinance as it is now. It's not the zoning ordinance as it was when this property was established and when trash receptacles started being placed on that property. Okay? So you can't retroactively attach a zoning ordinance to a use. And I keep saying that because this is a use issue that we already have established. We have the right to use the north end of the property for trash receptacles. Okay? We have this in the district court right now with those tickets. I'm going to fight those. Okay? Regardless of whether or not we get this approval or not, there is nothing in the law that says that we need to put an enclosure around the 6 trash receptacles that we have. Okay? There's nothing in the law that says that. Your ordinance might think that they can say that a garbage can is a structure. It's not. Garbage can is not a structure. Structure is defined under the building code. It does not include a trash can. Okay? Mr. Wolf can probably attest to that. He's a builder. It does not include a trash can. It does not include a dumpster. That's not a building. So we have a right to put the trash cans on the north end of the property. So the question is, do you want it how it is right now, where there's no, it's an eyesore? We agree, it's an eyesore. We don't like it, okay? So do you want to keep it how it is, or do you want to let us put an enclosure around some dumpsters that makes sense?
I don't want to keep it like that.
Right. But those are, right, we don't want to keep it like that.
No.
That's why we're
I
asking.
don't want to keep it like that because I've made my building beautiful. Everything in there is nice. I've upgraded, you know, I got the, like, the fob entrance for safety, for, you know, I put a lot of money into that place. And I want to keep it nice and I want it to look nice. I don't want to bother anybody with the trash, but it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nicer than what their trash looks like.
Anyways, I think I've answered all the questions. I think
We've got a few more questions still. Mr. Wolf, then Ms. Robinson.
Kind of off on basing off my colleague Ms. Levitt's question. In the wintertime, who brushes the snow? How often does that stuff get done? Like, there's a reason I'm asking this question.
okay, coming up, I get asked the
Okay.
property manager.
Okay, that's
Yeah. Again, I don't know the answer.
that's okay.
Make sure you introduce yourself.
My name is Phil. I'm the property manager of Woodward Court.
So how many, again, in the winter, how frequently do you salt, do you shovel? Like, obviously, after a storm, how long does that take generally, and how quickly do you get that done?
So we're out there immediately, you know, depending obviously if it's in the middle of the night, we're out there first thing next morning. Also, we have a plow company that comes and does our parking lots as needed, you know, and salt is needed.
And where's the snow put?
I believe, so on the back side, they put it at the south side of the property.
So you're saying that if on the north side of the property, they would put all the snow on the south side of the property?
Yep, they push it by carport 49 and 50, which is the most southern part.
Southern too. Okay. That's just a question that came to mind as we were talking about this. The other question I want to ask any of you is, when was the most, and I'm not talking about this case, I'm not talking about code enforcement, I'm talking about, like, when was the last time you went to the city to pull permits for some kind of renovation? What kind of renovation permits did you pull?
I'd say about 2 years ago.
And what did you
It was
kind
for
of,
plumbing, it was for,
have you done any exterior work?
we pulled a window permit, but that was a long time ago.
Okay, so nothing like a special land use or like a roofing permit, none of that stuff?
No.
Okay, I just wanted, I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, because like we had a roofing company, so if they would have pulled the permit, if they.
But I'm saying for that property, they did all that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Robinson.
Just looking at this and going through all the weeks that we've kind of been here and looking at it, and I am born and raised in Royal Oak. I've been here through every trash company we've ever had, and I know the background of this complex quite well. I really see here a couple things. Management problems here, just whether how we've just owned it for 10 years. Did I hear that maybe it's taken some growing pains or something to do that? But as far as the trash overflowing and pictures of that, and some design issues here. And when I'm looking at the three things that we have to look at to say, does this meet these requirements? Putting it where it was, I'm not talking 1974, I'm talking recently, like 5 years ago, by the pool, saying it's right in the center there. It seems to me that moving the entrance to the pool would be the easier thing to do, and just have that be coming through from the west side as far as not the east side, so that you're separating that access from the pool to where the trucks would come. And it would also be having that consolidated area for the trash receptacles to be there and having it enclosed. I don't know of any place here in our area where you don't have trash receptacles enclosed. argue that point, but you want to keep that hidden from public view, just kind of common sense. To me, those are the two things that are like, those could be consolidated. Putting one end north, one end south, that might mess up your parking that you have right now, just kind of looking what would make most sense to most people so they could get easy enough to get to take their trash out. Another question I had too, with what's the math behind having however many 6-yard receptacles you had being picked up once a week? Doesn't sound like that was enough, and you're saying it was the design of the thing, but 10 yards, I forget how many you said you were going to have. 3 10-yard?
3 10-yard.
Once a week? I mean, what's the
Twice a
frequency
week.
that twice a week? And does that work out that that's going to, I mean, obviously, again, that's kind of the management problem to make sure that that's right. If I lived at the south end, I can't see myself walking to the north end of that building carrying trash.
Well, there's going to be some residents that will talk to you tonight about that, and they'll let you know. I mean, and
Well, I'm just saying because personally, physically, right now, I would have a hard time doing that. So it seems to me like it would be better to try to get it more so that people can walk a little less far to get to take away their trash. Just saying.
one of the proposals that we originally, well, the secondary proposal that we were going to do was try to put 2 receptacles on one side and 2 receptacles on the other. The problem is that there's not enough room on the south side to allow us to do that. It doesn't work. The contractor can talk about, where's Nick? Where are you? Come back up here. Stop going back there. Come here. Explain why we couldn't put them on the south side.
There's carports on the other side.
Because of the carports.
Yeah, there's some carports in the way over there.
Right,
And then there's
okay.
a fence that's right up against the property line, concrete.
Yeah, I can look at right here, like I'm looking at the north end compared to the south end, and you'd probably lose a little bit of that just that carport if you were to put
I
up
think
there.
it just makes sense for the truck to come in on the north side. It's a straight shot. I mean, it makes the most sense. And nobody's really walking to the dumpsters anymore. Everybody throws the trash in the trunk. On their way out of the complex, they stop in front of the dumpster, they toss it out.
They drive it. Okay.
I mean, it's just what they do. Common sense stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, I do want to explain, and Nick, stop going over there, come here. Because it's the dumpster design issue, and because you asked what's the difference between the 10-yard dumpster and the 6-yard dumpster, and I had a hard time understanding it also, and the way that they're built.
I understand.
Okay, so the new ones, they just fill up instead of only one side filling up and then spilling over, and so.
They open on 3 sides. Opens in the front, opens on both sides. Where now it's a butterfly, and you can throw it in from the front. Once the front fills up, the back's empty, but you can't get to the back to open it up and throw the
Gotcha.
trash in. So
Yeah, so that's.
Runco is going to make it a lot easier.
Any other questions? I've got one. Assuming we deny it, and it has to go back to where the city wants it, I sort of understand your concern with how it needs to be angled for the trucks to get in there, and I don't see how it can get enclosed to allow for that. And I don't know if you guys have had any studies when this came up, seeing if it could meet what the city wanted with the truck turning to get into that area.
Unfortunately, I've tried several times to reach out to the city to discuss this prior to the hearings, and my attempts to try to resolve this were rebuffed prior to the planning meeting and prior to this meeting. I reached out to the people in planning, and they told me to speak to the law department, and the law department told me to basically talk to the people in planning. And it's one of those GFL waste management things. It's a priority waste things. So we are up to discussing solutions to see if that could be a solution, but I just don't see how. You just have to. You got to be there during trash pickup day. It's crazy what they do.
No, I understand. I have a program that allows me to automatically lay out how vehicles work as part of my duty. So I understand how that works and what the radius for trash usually ends up being. So I understand if this was actually an enclosure, how it, that's why I want to know if you guys had gone through the process of seeing if it could be.
No, after talking to the trash people, after talking to the waste disposal professionals, the conclusion that we came was that space in the north end where we want to put it is the safest place for people, for them to pick up the trash cans, okay? That's the safest place. Anything else is questionable. Now, while I completely disagree with Alex's supposition that we now have to go and build an enclosure where none has ever been for trash receptacles, I don't see how that would make it even any easier for a garbage truck to come in and pull out multiple trash cans from that location. I just don't see it.
Okay. Ms. Robinson?
Just one more question. So what you're proposing is to have these 3 10-yard dumpsters on that north end to service everybody on a concrete pad with a brick enclosure and landscaping all around it?
Yes.
I just wanted to understand that. Okay, thank you.
Yes. We don't want to just leave those 6 dumpsters there. We want to shrink the number of dumpsters, and we want to put them in an enclosure. And we want to put landscaping around the enclosure. And we want the enclosure to comply with everything required under the building code.
Okay. Any other questions?
One more thing.
No.
Phil just brought to my attention that the dumpsters that were there on wheels when they were in the center of the parking lot, the way that the parking lot's pitched, the dumpsters would roll out into the parking lot. So that was unsafe as well.
Yeah, you can even see that in Street View from Google Earth that was the case. Either that or that's where the waste receptacle removers left them. Mr. Swanson, or Stevenson, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted confirmation on the volumes of trash bins going from where you are today to what is proposed. I heard 8 cubic yards and also 10 cubic yards.
I think there's 5 6-yard dumpsters there now.
Okay.
So 30 yards of waste being disposed a week, which we'd be getting 2 10-yarders twice a week, which is 40. So we'd have multiple pickups in a week. The dumpsters wouldn't fill up.
But in addition, because the designs of the dumpsters, they wouldn't overflow as readily because they will actually fill up instead of just the front half filling up. So there's 2 aspects to it. Like they're 6-yard dumpsters, but they're not really 6-yard dumpsters because we can't utilize all 6 yards because of the way the stupid design of the dumpster. So I hear what you're saying because I was doing the math also, and I was like, this doesn't make sense. But then when we talked about how practically half of the dumpster doesn't get filled up before it starts overflowing, it made a lot more sense to me.
Okay, gotcha. So it is 2 10-yard bins, not 3 10-yard bins.
No, 2 10-yard refuse, 1 10-yard recycling.
Okay, understood. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Landweber?
Just a quick question. There was that interim plan that I saw that had dumpsters, 2 on the left, 2 on the right.
Right.
Why, what was the rationale of that, and why is now it moved back to the left?
Well, the rationale behind that was then it gets rid of one of the variance requirements that we would need because then it'd be equal distant from both of the different buildings that are there for the apartment complex, okay? But then when we realized that we were gonna have to knock down the carport to do that, we thought it was not a tenable plan. So that was why we abandoned that. And instead we just put them all on the north side, the way that it has historically been.
And there's a wall going down the entrance, which is a little bit in on the property, and then it jogs out at the back. So it really wouldn't work with the spaces, the way that the concrete wall is coming up the parking lot.
Yeah, when we were talking about it on the phone and he showed me the plan, we thought that that would work because it's a straight shot in on both of them, and it looked like it would be good, and then he did some more research and just saw that we couldn't do it.
Mr. Clark?
Oh, I was just gonna ask you, so yeah, that's like a multi-stall carport. It looks like there's 2 bays, or 2 spaces per bay. So, could you modify a portion of the carport? Not take the whole thing down, but a portion. Remove bay 49 and 50 and make that work. Why can't you pull in straight and remove the refuse and then back up and then, I don't understand why you can't pull in to grab it, slightly back up and then make the left to head north?
Wait, what, I know what we're talking about. Talking about it on the south side?
On the south side, sorry, yeah. You said you had to take the
It
whole
wouldn't
carport
fit-
down. The
it
carport looks
probably
like it's
fit one
modular.
dumpster. You could
Pardon?
probably fit one dumpster if you did do something like that. There's a wall that's not in the site plan that protrudes into the property.
It looks like there's an encroaching wall
Yep.
that prevents us from just going straight in there. That's not depicted on the plan review, or on the
Is
site
it
plan.
the wall on the south end? I see
Wall
a
on the south end,
And
yeah.
a wall on the south end.
Concrete block wall?
Yep.
It looks like-
I
it
don't know
looks-
if it's board or block.
It looks like that wall is south of the column that supports the carport.
It's encroaching.
Encro-
I think that's their wall.
I guess I don't understand. Okay, we'll. Anyways, it looks like, I was saying the carport looks like it's modular. You don't have to take the whole entire thing down. You could
I
remove
mean,
a section of
listen,
it.
if, we're willing to, try to resolve this any way possible in order to remove the dumpsters from where they are right now in front of the pool and put them in a location that is acceptable to our neighbors and acceptable to the city, okay? I would have to discuss this further with the contractor and the engineer to see if another plan could be submitted to put one or more dumpsters on the south end of the property as well as on the north end of the property. We originally thought we were going to be able to do that. I thought that that was a very good alternative, but I'm not the builder. So when I was told it couldn't be done, I accepted that it couldn't be done. But I'm willing to explore that to see if it is done, can be done, and if it can't be done, I'm willing to come back here and tell you why it can't be done more definitely. You know, so that's something we're willing to do. That would eliminate one of the variance requests. You know, we can always, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
No, that was my whole point. I mean, to me, if I were looking at this site in a vacuum and you asked me today where I put a trash receptacle, I mean, the north and south end seem logical. You pull up Benjamin, you can zip in, pull it back up, drive across. The middle section's tough. You know, they have to be angled, right? It's tough. So in a vacuum, now looking at residents and looking at the surrounding properties, those make sense. But I like the idea of splitting it in a
We would
way
have to
that.
go back to plan review and then come back here. We would have to voluntarily dismiss this request because otherwise we can't come back for a year. So if you will give me like a 5-minute recess to talk to my clients.
You'll have all public comment, don't worry.
Okay, that's
comments
okay.
and
Then I'll talk to my
everything. Sorry, I
clients
was-
and also allow me to come back then, that might be a solution.
And you could always request us to adjourn this till next month also is another option.
I know.
And
Then
I
people are
know-
gonna yell at me
yeah,
again, and you know, it's, I mean, and I appreciate that. And I don't know whether or not giving you, and that's another thing, I don't know whether giving you a secondary set of plans that shows it on the south side also would stray too far from the original request we made where we would have to do a re-request anyways. So let me, you know, unless anyone has other comments for me or questions, yeah, yes, sir.
Mr. Wolf.
I have one last question. So I pulled up the Royal Oak trash pickup day. Sorry, I can't hear myself talk. I pulled up the Royal Oak map for the trash pickup, like that we, the city, you know, all of us, we all have our assigned day. I know that you guys are in the Monday zone, so who picks up the trash on Wednesday? Is there?
It's private property.
No, originally they were supposed to come on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay, so they don't come on Wednesdays?
Only Mondays now.
Only Mondays. Okay, so when did that change? When were you or the property manager notified that happened?
They've never picked up twice.
They just, apparently they offered it to us and then they never followed through.
Okay.
That's what I learned tonight. Because Maria and I had a 20-minute conversation with we are your account manager, supervisor, whatever, because once Lee got involved and we were actually able to get someone from the trash company to call us, we told them what they wanted. They sent out a contract. We signed the contract.
And with whom again, remind me?
Ally.
Okay, so you haven't talked to like Priority at all?
Priority Waste, not Ally.
Yeah.
Priority Waste. It was GFL and Priority. I keep saying Allied. It's Priority Waste. Yeah. No, we did talk to Priority. That's who, they sent us a contract. We signed it. We sent it back to them. We were going to go out of pocket for that second day to come and pick it up. I think Maria just found out that they weren't coming twice a week also. We signed a contract.
Okay, that's just what I wanted to get a little bit clearer, because I have lived in apartments before. I don't live in one right now, but and I have never heard of apartment, and I've lived in big complexes, I've lived in small complexes, and I've never ever seen trucks come down to, wherever the trash was more than once a week. So
we tried doing that because there was an overflow problem, and we didn't want there to be an issue with the adjacent neighbors. And so, I mean,
no, I get it.
I've got a copy of the contract that they sent us.
I'm absolutely not accusing anybody of anything. I just wanted to know who picked up on that second day, but if there isn't that second day, that answered my question.
Yeah.
So,
and that's news. See, this is the issue. We have a trash contractor that even refused to acknowledge for a year and a half that these were their trash cans. So that's the issue.
I wish I knew more about trash. That's all I can say.
It's crazy.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We'll come back to you after public comment.
Thank you
and
very
ask,
much.
because we don't have a full board, if you'd like us to delay one more month and hope for a full board, which may or may not happen, or to proceed with voting on it.
I hear what you're saying, and I may ask that if we're allowed to submit. I've got to see whether or not.
You don't have to say the reason why. You can just say, if you want us to delay because we don't have a full board, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, we will open this up to public comment. Please try and keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and civil as best as you can. Thank you.
How you doing tonight, everyone? I think I know this better than anyone. I've lived in the complex since 2009, okay? There was a safety issue. When I used to park right behind the garbage cans, that was my assigned spot. And it backed one of the trucks during the winter, backed right into my car, okay? It was insurance claim, they paid, but it was terrible. Some things that weren't brought up tonight that's very important. When it's in the middle, it is a safety issue. What happened when these people took over the complex? The other people didn't maintain not the driveway, the driveway, drive in the back, and there was holes in there. People were getting flat tires right and left because the trucks were driving all the way through the complex, okay? The heavy trucks were going through the complex, and then it was a safety issue for the people that lived in the complex, okay? And it wasn't just me, like 20 people had flat tires and stuff like that. One of the things that wasn't brought up and everything is when the other people owned the complex, they did such a bad job in management, there was no one living there. It was almost empty. These people took over, they put, to Mr. Wolf's question, they put in a lot of money to try to fix this up and make it a better place to live for a community. And one of the things when they made it as a community, they cleaned it up. They painted it. They did everything. People wanted to say, well, and the garbage cans were moved by Val. She used to be the manager. She lived at Third Place, okay? Over there, and she was our manager behind. And they did move the cans a couple times. They moved it to the north side or south side. They moved a couple cans there and before. I understand your pictures, but I've seen it moved, okay? It's been moved before. And the safety about the kids and everything like that, it is, because they can walk behind the thing, and you just don't want that over there, it's more now in the way it is, it should be over there because it's away from our complex. We can drive there, we can walk there. We're adults, okay? If we can't put the garbage in the car, we walk it, we can drive over there and put it in. It's a safety issue. It's an issue for all of us. I mean, I'd like you, if you had any questions for me, because like I said, I've been there since 2009. I've seen all the things that's happened and the bad things, safety, the driveway getting ruined, everything going on, and it's in this.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Next person who'd like to come up?
Hello. I've been living at Woodward Court for about a year now, but I've actually spent 2 years historically as a pool cleaner, and so one of my concerns as someone who has spent a lot of time in and around swimming pools is that with having the trash receptacles so close to the swimming pools, there is a risk that, the smell is going to affect, anybody who is trying to enjoy their time at the pool, but more importantly, what else lives around trash receptacles except for critters? Those critters are going to get in there underneath the fence or however way they want to get there, and critters will end up dead in the pool, and then our residents will come and find dead critters in the pool, and that is not pleasant. So that is one main concern with the moving the trash cans over to the pool area. And then the concern of moving any trash cans to the south side is that I've seen it. People come in through that south side of the entrance, the back side, either way, they come in too fast. And there have been accidents recently and in the past, but people that's not a safe place to put a trash receptacle for somebody to be walking to it as people tear through that corner, let alone if somebody hits the trash dumpster, that's gonna be a pretty detrimental accident as well. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, how are you? I'm Chaplain Brian Bower, and I've been a resident, my mom and I, at Woodward Court for 6 years now. And what I can say is that I remember it 6 years ago when the trash receptacles were outside of the pool, and it was a safety hazard. Even our next door neighbor, her daughter had a birthday party, a pool party. She wouldn't have been able to have that pool party safely a couple weeks ago if the trash receptacles were still there. So our property owners, they are very phenomenal. Our property manager, he's great, but I can attest to being a resident for 6 years, my mom and I, of that it was a serious safety hazard. It was an eyesore to have to look and have to see the critters and the squirrels and all of the rodents running around. And we have a really nice pool. And so to have this nice looking pool and then right next to it is rotting trash really just has been an eyesore, and it's been an inconvenience for us as residents. So that's kind of what I want. And I also want to say, our property owners are really trying to be peaceful about the situation. We don't want a turf war with the adjacent neighbors. We're not trying to start a war and arguments. We just want our trash to be properly put where it needs to be. And I think it's a win-win for everybody, because as a minister, I deal with conflict resolution all the time. And we are not trying to have strife or anything like that. So that's all I wanted to say today.
Thank you.
Before I speak, which is sort of ironic because I just spoke, I want to make sure I understood that at the last meeting, did you say if we spoke, we can't speak again, ever? No? Okay, that was the understanding we had. I just don't want to violate any rules. I want to go back to a few things. I live in 2121 Clawson. I just want to go back to some things that I think tie this together really well as far as unity in a community. I don't know anybody that's here tonight that I live with that would have called that gentleman the name that he said that I won't say out loud. There is acrimony. After the last meeting we had here, they put signs up in front of all of our cars, like handwritten signs that said no trespassing, which I think is, it's not a turf war. It's a health issue. The people that live there have said they don't want that trash in their property where they can see it, where there are rats, and where it's not well maintained. And I understand that they don't, but we don't either, and there's a logical place for it to go. The trucks, as they come in now to pick up out of those 6 dumpsters that are in the photo. I know he said he thought there were 5. There are 6 right now. The trucks that come in are damaging our wall. And I'm not here to say our trash is prettier than your trash, but I will say when somebody says, my trash doesn't stink, yours does, the difference is all our trash is bagged. There's no residue in the bottom of our cans. Or we go in, we wash it with hoses, it's disgusting, but it doesn't smell. The smell from those dumpsters is overwhelming, and those dumpsters are about 4 feet from my bumper, because that's where I park my car. The other question I have is they talked about some sort of front lift. I'm not an engineer. I know you guys know this much better than I do. The front lift system for these new dumpsters they're going to have, there are low wires there. So I'm not sure how they could even do that. The electrical wires that run from the city, the way it was described to me, it doesn't seem like it'll work either. So there's damage to our trash area, and we just had to sell a unit for $30,000 because everyone that looked at it said, I don't want to look at that trash. What's it doing there? It hasn't been moved also. So my concern is for over a year, and Dream Cruise is going to really make it. I mean, that's like a beautiful time to have that trash blossom. For over a year, it's been there, and I'm pretty certain, I'm not certain. It's possible that they'll want another continuance until we have a full group. And I don't know when that'll ever happen, and that's concerning to me. I mean, if he wants to go to circuit court, whatever they want to do, I just want to represent what's right. Our neighbors are really nice. I don't want them to live with ugly trash. But he said aesthetically where he's going to do it in the spot it's in now, it's going to be beautiful. But if it stays where it's always been, it's not going to be.
Okay.
So that's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next person.
Hello, this is Seth. This is Liz. Lived there. Well, she's lived there for about 2 years. I've lived there for about 1 year. We're actually moving out of the most south side. We honestly don't mind going all the way to the north side to put our trash. And then we have actually had a pretty bad experience with the trash being in front of the pool. We tried to use it last summer, and when we went in there, the pool actually had a bunch of trash in it and feminine products. We didn't use it for the rest of the summer. This summer, the trash is at the north side. It's kept it nice and clean. We've had a lovely time there. That's all we have to say.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Terry Schroeder, and I have received the trash in my yard. The trash that overflows in those 6 dumpsters blows because western winds come across their property and go to ours. We have to stop these trash wars because we are living with their trash in our front yards. Seeing the dumpsters in our front yards, which we didn't before, okay, and having this overflow come right into our yards when the wind carries it is unacceptable. I'm a bit frustrated by the fact that the trash has not been picked up twice a week as per earlier discussions, and yet this seems to be a revelation to this organization. It speaks to me of, let's put it this way, I'm concerned about the honesty in the situation. And I'm also hearing that really rats are at the core of this, which is understandable. We now have to have rat traps where we did not have to have rat traps before. So their trash is drawing rats to our property line and causing an issue for us, okay? Moving these dumpsters back to where they belong might be a hardship for them, but if twice a week having the trash emptied is necessary in order to keep it under control, then that seems to be the most obvious solution. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody.
Hello.
I live at 29300. I've been there, be 7 years soon. And the trash used to sit in front of the pool. And this trash war is so ridiculous. I mean, we arguing over trash. Rats live in Royal Oak. Regardless who got the trash, rats live in Royal Oak. My concern about this trash sitting in front of our pool is just as we say. We walk past the pool. It could be a child walking past the pool going to go swimming, and a rat can jump out on him. That's not safe for our babies. We adults can handle that, not our babies. Now, there's rats over there, period. I seen them running from the trash and running from the trash, and we didn't bring them. They was here because you got restaurants and all kind of buildings around us. And this trash war, fighting over a trash war is very, very ridiculous. We need to come together as a group and work this out as people should. It's trash, everybody. It's trash. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Margie. I live at 2119 Clausen. I just want to make sure everyone got the petition from our side also. There's at least 75 signatures, and that's just from people directly related to our complex or family or visitors. My grandson was the one making the noise out there. My daughters came because they're concerned because we also had the same safety concern for our children and grandchildren. They're out walking in our front lawn. They have dead rats. They have garbage to contend with. We have a front lawn. We don't have a pool, but we still have our yard and play area that is a safety concern to us as well. The area that area pulls in people off of Woodward. People see those dumpsters, they dump there. I understand they can make it more aesthetically pleasing, and I'm all for that. But then that should work by their pool area or wherever else too. It shouldn't, all of their garbage should not be concentrated in our front lawn. And I don't understand how the size of the dumpsters are working out with what they currently have. Those are huge bins that they have now. And they have a number of other smaller receptacles too. So I'm not sure how that all works out, just numbers wise. I want to just mention, I also don't remember anybody calling the attorney a scumbag. That is something very foreign to us. We're trying very hard to be kind neighbors. We have waited now over, I think it's closer to 2 years from what I've heard. I've only been there a year, for the violations, something to happen, for the city to do something to move it, for something to happen, and nothing has happened. He seemed very annoyed that this was his third time here, but the reason it's his third time here is because he delayed the first 2 times himself. Well, it had nothing to do with anyone else. So we all are getting a little frustrated. We are all trying to be kind about it. I also don't understand the landscaping idea because it's all asphalt in that area. I'm not sure how you're gonna put trees or how you're gonna put bushes unless they tear that all out. I took a good look at that and I just couldn't figure it out. So I do believe there must be a different way to pool. I care about the safety of everybody. That corner that the trucks come in now, people are also speeding around that corner. So that concern is valid for anywhere you put that. And trucks can block that driveway just as easily. So I think anywhere you put it, it's going to have its downfall, but we should take into consideration how many people are being affected by that corner. That we take pride in our yards and our ownership as well, and we have issues to deal with as well. And I'm just a little bit frustrated that there was some kind of argument about bias or something that was just has nothing to do with why we are all here. I think that's it. Our petition says a lot too, so please do note that we all really are concerned, and we are willing to take it further too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name's Rob. I've been with maintenance at Woodward Court with their complexes for about 7 years now to address Ms. Levitt. Ms. Levitt, there's about a 34-inch path from the south end of the property all the way to the north directly next to the building with the receptacles up by the pool and by the fence, that stops that. Nobody can go past. They would, if the children or people would have to go around the dumpsters, right now they can walk all the way through without the parking lot. With the receptacles being in the middle of the lot, the garbage trucks come through our lot. They have deteriorated the parking lot. It crumbles. All three of our drains have been crushed. We've had cameras and companies come out and rebuild, cut out big areas, and it's continuing to destroy our structure. At the one end, they pull in off the street, and that's it. At both ends, at the south entrance, we're adjacent to the IHOP, which the big wall there, we have a very narrow spot. For anybody trying to cut that corner to take trash out, it's a blind spot. It's not a blind spot at the north entrance. That's a nice rounded area. Like what this lady said, her garbage is in her front lawn. Ours would be directly next to theirs. Their fence is this high and crumbling. They stack stuff on top of their cans, on top of their fence, out in front of the fence, on the outside, you know, for where the hand loading stuff is, furniture or whatnot, is outside of their enclosure all the time. With the stuff being by the pool, the birds, the excrement falling into the pool over and over, the squirrels, we can't put front loaders in that area if we were to build a wall around, because we have power lines from building to building in the parking lot area. We have to use then rear loaders. We have to use the smaller cans, which means several of them, which takes up 11 or 12 parking spaces. Right now, we would be gaining, I believe, 9 parking spaces in the center and losing, or 11 and gaining 3, losing 3 at the end. So we have more parking. We do have a walkway then if the stuff's at the north end of the building. The south end of the building, like I said, is a total blind spot right next to the IHOP entrance. Very dangerous. We've had plenty of accidents down there already. Cars, one coming in, one coming out, cars. If people are walking there, that'd even be worse. And most of the residents that were here and that have left, they're all in the 300 building. They all live at the very south end. They don't have a problem walking their stuff down there. They would prefer it down there. It's more feasible. When the garbage trucks are there, they block up everything. You cannot come through. You cannot get in or out. If you're parked in the carport during garbage time and you need to leave for work, you came home for lunch, you're screwed if they're doing garbage all of a sudden, if they show up when you're home for lunch. You can't get out. You're blocked in until they're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary DeLeo, and I've resided at 2119 Clausen for 26 years now. And I have never seen the garbage can over where they're saying it was. Now, if you're going to go back to 1974 to come up with a picture or something, we respect our neighbors. In fact, they take their dogs and walk through our property, and we don't have a problem with that as long as they're respectful and picking up the thing, and they have been. You know, I think they're great neighbors. However, this is an eyesore for the city of Royal Oak as well as for our properties and for their property too. It is an eyesore. You can't get away from that. The proposal does not solve that. I think when they come around in the current position, it is a safety issue as well. I don't think maybe there's a really great place for it, but I do think that it's creating an eyesore and a health issue store for both buildings. And I think we can work it out if we have reasonable minds that will adjust a bit. I think they probably have parking out in front of this building too. Now, do they have more than one car, some of the people? I don't know. But you would think there's adequate parking space that was provided from the original plan. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mona Webster. I think it's been a wonderful conversation. I am sitting here and I'm happy. My one question, do the residents of the apartment, do they use a key fob to get in those back gates? There's a sidewalk, But how is the access from the back parking lot? Does anybody know? Okay, and then my other observation, I did spend time yesterday at DPW, lovely gal, and I have the dimensions of those larger dumpsters. The 4-yard, 71.5 long, 54 deep, and 48 high. I don't know the capacity that Joseph had asked about, but couldn't 2 fit in the original spot and then use plastic receptacles for the recycle, like all the residents do? I put my cans, my pop bottles, just something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak?
Thank you. My name is Victor Waddell. I live in 2119 Clausen, Unit 108. I'm probably one of the residents closest to the trash receptacles. I'm one of those people who are most impacted by the situation. Been there for 7 years. I would like to ask that the committee expedite this decision for a couple of different reasons, mostly because of the ongoing risk to public health that we're experiencing, primarily as a result of the rat problem that we're having. We had to contract to have the traps put out. We're catching rats there. My car has been damaged by a rat. We have people in our complex with compromised immune systems being bit or exposed to disease would potentially be catastrophic for some of them. So we would like to ask that there be no further delay to resolve this issue one way or the other. I don't know whether the committee, takes it upon yourself to relitigate previous decisions by the city. I'm not aware, but all of these factors that have been discussed were already decided against them. They're not in compliance with your regulations by their own admission. Seems clear-cut to me. So thank you for giving me the time, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Patty, and I spend a lot of time at the Clausen buildings at my sister's apartment. And I will say, just for listening to the overall discussions, it sounds like it kind of comes down to 2 things: aesthetics and safety. So the residents of the apartment building don't want the garbage by them because it's aesthetically not pleasing and there's rats. But of course, the people in the condos don't want that either. So, this is a management issue of how you have to take care of your trash. But I guess my other biggest question to the management company of the apartment complex is, if it's a safety issue, why haven't you created a new gate or route for those people to be able to get to the pool without going through the parking lot? It seems like if that's truly what your biggest concern was, that you would have created a safer route for people to get to the pool before 2 years later and having everybody else find that solution for you. So that's my question, just a concern. I understand, nobody wants a turf war or garbage war, and, I agree, but it sounds like it's a management issue. They haven't given these people any good faith efforts so far in 2 years to improve the aesthetics. So I guess the question is, to delay it more, are they really going to come forward and show good faith at this point? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Alyssa Montgomery. I've been living in Woodward Courts for 7 years, and I have kids there as well. So I have a couple different options and things to tell you about. So during the morning school drop-offs, maintenance is out there in the morning and they're picking up trash and they're actually dumping it back into the dumpsters so that they're not overflowing. Every morning they're out there at 7 a.m. picking up trash. And when the garbage was in the middle, because I live at 39, by the IHOP. When the garbage was in the middle, my daughter had tripped, coming from the pool, and her teeth actually fell through, tripping through garbage. So that is a big safety thing for the garbage being in there. And we are a community, and my son has offered to take the neighbor's garbage for her, but she refused because that's her exercise. It's not a long walk at all. Some good exercise. Get out and walk. And being in the middle, we have been blocked because we have the car parts, and we have it's literally right behind where the dumpsters were. So we've been blocked in multiple times, and there's nothing you can do about there. And then lastly, there is a clear line of vision when the garbage is on the outside. My children have friends on the other building, and they have a safe route to get to their friends when they can go straight across. When the dumpsters is right there, you can't see to go to that other building or to even get to the pool opening. So it's just that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Schroeder again from 2121.
Sorry, you can only speak once.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else here to speak? Thank you.
Yes, my name's Natalie Sear. I'm on the board at 2121 Clausen. I have a comment about the containers overflowing. Now there is a gentleman that comes out and he does push the garbage and rearranges the garbage probably from Thursday and Friday, because usually everything goes down into the containers at the beginning of the week. On Friday or Saturday and Sunday, there's nobody out there because that's these guys' days off. That's when it's at its worst and overflowing, and that's when we have family over or, picnics out, whatever, anything we want to do outside, it's overflowing and it's just horrible. But I have also seen that on Monday morning, and this has happened 2 or 3 times, that there is a white pickup after Monday morning's pickup from the garbage company. This truck pulls up with a bed full of garbage bags, and they're thrown into now the empty containers. So in order for them to control the overflowing, they're filling, seems to me, a bed of a white pickup. And then at the end, after they're picked up, that's when they're throwing this, so that it's controlling the overflowing, which is why, it's not as bad as what it was. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Makiba Bolaware. I've been a resident at Woodward Court now for 6 years. And after listening to everyone, I think the one thing I wanted to come up and say tonight is that change sometimes is hard. Clearly, the owners of our apartment complex, they don't want our trash where it is now to be an eyesore for our neighbors. I've been a resident, I was born and raised in Detroit, used to work for the city of Detroit. Understand municipal problems, but I think what we really need to understand is just like when Dream Cruise was instituted. That presents a whole host of problems now for Royal Oak and for Woodward, but we adapt to it. I would like our neighbors to understand is that we came here tonight with a solution. We understand that it's been an eyesore, but we're trying to do something about it. So we don't want this to be about our trash and the rats and what's going on over there. Clearly, no one wants that, but we have to get to a point where we need to understand that there has to be time for a resolution, for it to change. It's not convenient for us, but where it was in front of the pool, it did present a safety issue. But I think what just kind of just getting under my skin is that our neighbors are just saying how much of an eyesore, and it stinks, it's trash. Theirs stinks as well. It's just that our apartment complex is much larger than their condos. And when I start hearing terms like those people, I take it personal because we're residents. And again, when it comes down to trash, everybody's trash stinks. Our owners, they have put a lot of money into the renovations, clearly. And from what I understand, it's been a Royal Oak issue. Our owners are not just trying to just create problems for the neighbors. So I think I would just want everyone, especially our neighbors, to understand that we are coming here with a proposed solution. We want to do something about it. No one wants trash stinking. No one wants rats running all over their property. So give us the time, give our owners the time to actually do, but it makes sense for it to be where it is, because in front of the pool, as everyone has attested to, it is a safety issue. And from what I understand, the condos, you know, more seasoned community, seasoned tenants, I should say, we have families and we have children, and that is what matters. So kind of just wanted to get up and say that we have to allow for the change to happen. We don't just want trash blowing all over their property, if that makes sense. So I'm just saying, if we could just come together and reason and allow the owners to be able to solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, anyone else?
I wasn't planning on talking, I'm sorry, I'm really sick, but I'm Annie, I'm in 212 in Clawson. This whole safety thing, okay, we have tons of rats. It's blowing into the commercial businesses, you've gotten letters from them. It's causing issues. You've got a sidewalk right there with little kids and dogs walking by with their, right there. So believe me, as close as the pool, and this is open, you're right next to the sidewalk where people walk with those rats. And as somebody mentioned earlier, we have a lot of disabled people. They're afraid to go to the trash because of all the rats going on. I mean, this has been going on a year, and I feel bad for them, but they moved the place where they could have resolved the problem there. Like you said, there could be a side gate. I don't know. It just seems ridiculous that we're sitting here a year later after it's already been voted down, and we're still looking at them and losing money on our properties. That's all I gotta say. I don't know how you're gonna resolve this, but keeping them near that street. Oh, and please, one thing I almost forgot to tell you. Multiple times, the traffic is backed up to Woodward because the garbage truck has to block that area to get the garbage. What are you gonna do when an EMS truck needs to go through? And that's more for their benefit than ours. You're gonna have a lawsuit. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm sorry I'm sick, but that's my points. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once. Going twice. Oh.
Hello, my name's Santina. I'm a leasing agent at Woodward Court Apartments. Besides all of the behind the scenes of the dumpsters coming in, I'm not really equipped with knowing that knowledge, but what I do know is the well-being of my tenants, and I have, along with the management, we have prioritized the safety of our tenants, not only with moving the dumpsters, but with ensuring that they have a key fob system to keep people who are not tenants out of the building. We are also in the process of installing cameras. So on top of all these things that we've already been doing for our tenants, we want to ensure that when they are going to the pool in flip-flops and shorts, that they are not going to be harmed by what the dumpster, could cause. And like you've heard from other tenants, we do have our maintenance guys trying to pick up what, the dumpster may not be able to hold. And we are making an honest effort to do that every day. But I do believe that my tenants deserve the same privileges as our adjacent neighbors. And I don't think we're asking for too much when we say that we want to put our dumpsters in the same exact spot, not only in the same spot, but in a nicer and cleaner way. I just want my tenants to be safe and happy because that is what I am supposed to do as a leasing agent. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. All right, public comment is now closed. I will ask the petitioner if they would like us to proceed or to delay a month due to the fact that we do not have a full board.
I would like to address that. I found an email that I'd like to just show it to you before I do that, because I don't want there to be any question that my client and we contacted the trash company and we were specifically told that our service days were supposed to be Monday and Friday. So if you don't mind, can I just go down and just show everybody that this is from David Vanette, who is the Vice President of Municipal Sales for Priority Waste. This was sent to me in November of 2025. This is why we believe this was being done. Okay, so it wasn't Monday and Wednesday, it was supposed to be Monday and Friday to address the weekend overflow issues that we were having.
While you're doing that, if you're able to respond to whether or not you want us to proceed or delay.
So we don't necessarily want to delay, but we do want to explore the idea of whether or not it is both feasible, physically feasible and financially feasible to put one or more dumpsters on the south side also, in order to satisfy one of the requirements and in order to alleviate some of the trash cans that would be on the north side adjacent property line. So I did discuss that with my clients, I discussed that with the contractor, I discussed that with the property manager, and we would like to adjourn for one more month so that we can explore that and find out whether or not this is something that we can do and come back. And if it's possible, then present that as an alternate idea. So yes, we would like an adjournment because you are not a full board.
Okay. All right, then we will have discussion and any motions anyone would like to speak for. No, you're good. Mr. Clapton, Mr. Reddy.
I would say that I'm in support of that idea, and I brought up the idea, I'd say it's my idea, but looking at the south end as an opportunity, I don't fully understand the wall being a problem.
I was told they're actually charging us for the 3 times a week pickup still. It comes out automatically. So that's why we had to always assume that this was being done, because not only do we have the confirmation from the Vice President of Marketing, okay, I just don't want to be called a liar. That's all.
No, that's fine.
I was just saying that because I don't fully understand those walls that sit there right now, those screen walls that sit on that southern lot line. So I'd like some clarity. The site plan doesn't really show it. They show some lines in the property line, but it's not a clear diagram. And two, there's some good points though about blind spots. I could see that too. So I think maybe an exploration of what that could be and maybe pros and cons of both could be helpful for a decision.
Mr. Reddy, you had a comment or a motion?
I was going to make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
That we postpone until next month this case, as requested.
All right, Mr. Langweber, do you second? Okay. Any discussion on this? Oh yeah, that's right. Go ahead. You lead by discussion. That's right. Yeah. Sorry.
So I mean, we offer this because the vote threshold is the same, whether we're full board or not. We offer it to the petitioner, so it seems only fair to grant it if they ask for it. And I would just, they're still subject to penalties while this case is ongoing. So it's not like they're getting let off by the fact that we're giving them an adjournment.
Agreed. It's
it's a function of the number of members of the board that are present today. I don't know that it is intended to indicate a direction of any design one way or the other. That's an opportunity that they take on their side, but I second because it is a function of the board when we're down one member.
Okay. Mr. Wolf.
I obviously will be voting in favor of a motion to postpone. I think the correct term is continue, postpone. But I don't think we should be doing design work for the tenants, for the applicant. If he wants to come back like he did this past month and come with something new, obviously we as the board should be looking at it. I think that's kind of where our line is that we should be telling this is what's in front of us and that's it.
Any other comments? Yes, Ms. Robinson?
Well, I agree to postpone, I guess, with our motion here. But just two comments here. This has gone on too long, and this has to be, how can this not be fixed? I mean, this seems like this is a design problem. We just need to make it happen. And I don't know where I don't know that that's a function of this board, but from the city of Royal Oak, we need attention to this, and we have to find a resolution.
Any other comments? I will, because it's been a request and we normally accept when they ask for adjournment, I will be voting also in favor of this. One comment I will make to the petitioner is, besides looking at that north and south, it'd be probably proper to look at how, if it's even feasible to do what the city would want with this enclosure in that center thing and safely get the garbage. If that can't be done safely, then you have a point to show that it can't be done safely while enclosed. So something to look at. Okay, any other comments? If not, seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of postponing this till next month signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, one opposed. Motion carries. We will see you all next month. There will not be any public notice again, unfortunately, so if you want to come speak on this case, you will have to come next month. I apologize. It'll be the second Tuesday of the month. Thank you. Or Thursday, sorry. Thursday, yes. Yes, 7 o'clock, yes.
So that date will be August 13th for those of you who are interested.
All right, we'll wait a moment for everyone to, please, if everyone who's not part of the next case, if you could quietly file out so that we can move on to the next case. Thank you.
Okay, quick break?
Sure, we can take a quick, 3-minute break?
3 minutes.
3 minute? All right, we'll restart in 3 minutes if anyone needs to use the restroom real quick. You're welcome. He's got so many rules. All righty, we're all back here, so we'll start things off again. We'll move on to new business, case number 26-07-11, 412 Midland Boulevard, whenever you're ready. Thanks. Take it away.
This project originally began as a building permit that was denied by our office for failing to comply with all applicable zoning ordinance provisions. The property itself is located on the south side of Midland Boulevard. It's just west of Rochester Road, and it's immediately adjacent to a public alleyway. And the petitioner is proposing to construct a new 293 square foot covered but still unenclosed rear porch under the back of the dwelling. The zoning ordinance does allow unroofed terraces, patios, or decks, or what have you, to actually project into the minimum required side and rear yard setbacks. But based upon the language in the zoning ordinance, it does not permit roof patios to have the same encroachment. So that being said, staff has consistently applied the same setbacks to covered rear patios or porches that are also required for the house. So with that being said, this new proposal must provide the same 35-foot rear yard setback that's required for the house, but it's only going to be 24.5 feet, so the petitioner is seeking a variance to waive 10.5 feet from the minimum required 35-foot rear yard setback. It's also required to provide a 5-foot west side yard setback, same as the house, but it's only going to be 3 feet. So a second variance is required to waive the 2 feet from the minimum required 5-foot side yard, or west side yard setback. Obviously, this patio's roof is going to be fully enclosed, so staff is obviously going to have to include that in total lot coverage. Now, when this house was constructed, the city was provided with an as-built survey, which did note a total lot coverage of 27.8%. So the new patio is now going to result in 32.5%. So the petitioner is seeking a third variance to waive the 2.5% that goes above the maximum permitted 30% of total lot coverage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Mr. Collette?
This might be more of a petitioner question. There was a letter from AGW Services, and it states, Alex at the zoning department noted 2 violations. Then it goes on to say, we have since corrected this violation and amended our plans. Has there been any modification or reduction of variances that I'm unaware of?
No, so the variances that are listed are the same ones that we noted previously.
Okay. Any other questions? I've got an interesting one because I just don't know. If they were actually to do a retractable awning for over the porch, and not have a formal covered roof, how would the city wouldn't have any issue with that, would they?
There's a few examples. So if it was like a trellis style roof with open slats, we would exclude that from total lot coverage. If it was like a louvered roof that still had the capability to be fully enclosed, we have also included that in lot coverage given the fact that it still has the capability to be enclosed.
No, I mean like, for example, my mother-in-law has one that's attached to the side of her thing. She hits a button and it just extracts. And then when it's rainy or windy, she'll glue it back in.
Is it like a cloth covered one?
Yeah, it's like a cloth covered one.
Yeah, so if it's something like cloth, it's not less necessarily like a rigid or fully constructed roof, so we could exclude that.
Okay, just curious, thank you.
Alex, if this is approved, is there anything that prevents the homeowner from enclosing the porch completely?
Well, as long as it did comply with all applicable zoning ordinance provisions, I suppose that they could.
Is there a square footage issue? Is the home on record of how big it is? 28.
It's lot coverage, that's the biggest.
Yeah, lot coverage would be the biggest. The as-built survey doesn't note the usable floor area for the house.
It just says the footprint, which is 1,600.
Right. 16. But in ultimately this, as it enclosed, because the roof is there, the walls could materialize without any other involvement from the city?
It would still require a permit to do so, so we would have to check it at that point in time for compliance with the zoning ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
But theoretically, if it complies, it'd be, because we granted the variance theoretically, it would just be an administrative allowance. Okay. Anyone, I thought I saw a hand over here. Nope.
I was just questioning conditions, but I don't think we can do that, correct? We can't add conditions that it remains open air.
Yep.
And there'd be a host of building department challenges with fire ratings being that close to property lines, but that's not our issue.
If there's no further questions, the petitioner may come forward to present your case.
I'm the petitioner. I'm the owner of 412 Midland. I've lost my contractor for the evening, so please forgive me.
That's okay.
I'll do my best. Effectively, bought the house in 2021. I'm from Canton, Michigan originally. I live there with my wife. We have a newborn daughter. She's 3 months old. Hence why this is all happening, because my wife wants an enclosed, covered porch so she can take our daughter out, you know. I contacted a contractor in May, 2 months ago, to discuss putting a patio and a covered porch in the backyard. The big reason for the porch is it's really an issue of privacy at this location. So it's kind of like an awkward lot if you see it compared to the other lots next to it. It kind of narrows out, and it's a smaller square footage lot than all the other lots, despite having a much larger 2,800 square foot house on it. It's also adjacent to Miners Den Jewelry. God bless them. Great business, very busy business, but I live directly by their alley, where they have all their public parking in that alley. Another unique feature of my beautiful home is that it doesn't have a real driveway. The access inlet is through the alley. All this to say is, like, we grill in the alley, we leave the door open. Very safe alley. It's fine, you know, not a big deal. But there's just no privacy in the front of the house or the back of the house as a result of this alley. So, you know, we were gonna put a patio in, and my wife said, can we put a covered lanai in to add privacy in the backyard? And this is where this all came about. So pretty much the backyard's useless. We don't really use it at all. We've had the home for 5 years. We submitted pictures, you know, of what it currently looks like. And this is all just like me seeking to improve my home for the benefit of my family, and so my wife can have like a private covered area to take our newborn daughter outside. But yeah, it's very not private as it is right now. So that's my biggest issue, and that's why we're just trying to seek a variance.
All right, questions for the petitioner? Mr. Reddy, Mr. Clapton.
You have two neighbors. Did you reach out to them? I don't see any comment.
Neighbors, the ones to my left?
Yeah, you have west and south. Right?
Yeah, I haven't reached out to them. It's actually, I think, an unoccupied house next to me right now. They haven't occupied it in, I would say, about a year. But the owners used to live there, but they moved out about a year ago. They maintain the property. They send lawn care and stuff like that, but nobody actually lives in the house next to me. Behind me, there is the next house is separated by their garage. Their garage is actually pointed. It's a separate structure from their home, but it's pointed towards the alley. Yeah, if you zoom out, if you go south there, yeah. So there's not a house directly. The nearest structure south of me in this picture is that garage there for my neighbor. So, but I did not ask them like if they had an issue with me building a covered porch in my backyard.
Mr. Pratt?
No, Mr. Reddy asked the first question. Second question would be, so you didn't build the house, correct? You purchased it in 2021?
No, I bought it from a builder in 2021. It was a new build though.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
The neighbors would have gotten a notice of this variance, so okay, so they were aware of this. They're not here. We're not getting anything. What's the ceiling, the roof of the structure going to be?
Like how tall is it going to be?
No, I mean like what's it made out of?
It's gonna look like an extension of the house. It's gonna be like a.
It's gonna be wood with shingles on it. It's
Yeah,
be just like
shingles, exactly.
But then open sides.
With all open sides, 4 beams, and like directly over the patio.
Electricity there, so you can have lights or whatever.
Yeah, there'll be like a ceiling fan and like 4 to 6 lights, which
You're not asking for any plumbing or anything?
No, nothing like that. There's not going to be any like sinks or built-in. There's no gas lines, no sinks, nothing like that. It's just going to be a patio and somewhere to put my grill.
Like a picnic shelter in the park. Okay.
Mr. Weber, then Mr. Wolf.
Did you explore a smaller porch that would not require the setbacks?
Yeah, so it's interesting because like, I don't even know what the property square footage is of the lot. So Royal Oak, the city of Royal Oak has it set at a smaller percentage than the county, Oakland County does, which is very interesting. I didn't know that there was deviations in property, property sizes between like the county and city. Under the Oakland County plan, my lot is big enough to accommodate this without like violating the 30% ordinance. I don't know about the other two, but it's not under the Royal Oak. We explored doing a smaller style like roofed area, but it's kind of awkward because the double doors to the house, it would have to be over the double doors to the house, and that's on like the other side of the home, so it doesn't really remedy the, I wouldn't do it if you said that's all I could do, because it doesn't really remedy the privacy concern I have, because it doesn't allow us to have a private backyard.
Okay,
thank
you.
Mr. Wolf, then Mr. Clapp.
All right, so as somebody who also has no real driveway to speak of and an alley coming right off the side, you definitely have my sympathy. The question I have is, there are two of them. So just to confirm, there is no electric at the site, all right? There's, when you build the covered porch, like whatever electricity is gonna come from the main house.
Yeah, they're gonna run, he's bringing an electrician to just put 4 lights and a fan up by connecting it to the electricity in the house. There'll be no
Okay,
gas.
so there
or
will be electricity at the house.
In the patio, there will be electricity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the second question I had, and I did drive the site, and then I also looking at Google Maps to refresh it. When you go in and out of your garage, like looks like there's a fence there, so you could access, in theory, somebody parks the car there and walks on the back, or you don't have to go, or you have to go through the house to get to the.
We don't park. Is your question, can you get into the backyard from the driveway?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Okay,
You can
so-
access the backyard from the driveway.
So access that way. So in theory, making this up, you're throwing a party and somebody can come in that way.
And go to the backyard. That's exactly what we're doing, yeah. We're gonna put like arborvitaes along the fence to make it work. We're gonna try to make it, do the best we can to make it useful, so we don't use it at all right now, so.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Mr. Clapp.
Yeah, my question kind of piggybacks Mr. Lineweber's question. I love the shape. It's very simple. I think it's reasonable, the size, 14 feet by 20 feet. I think it can be zoned, right? You can have some seating out there, maybe a small table, but in the spirit of always trying to lessen or reduce the ordinance or the variance request, my only thought was, could it be L-shaped? Like, for example, I know you have a door coming out there, but could you clip that corner? So you're not going to reduce the square footage much to make that comply, but could at least that 3-foot burden be offset? It may not look as attractive because you're going to add that clipped corner, but it could help ease the burden at that 3-foot section. Still giving you coverage at the door to get out, but then keeping that bigger shape by the seating area across from the window.
Yeah, it's interesting. I talked to I'm less concerned about this of the 3 ordinances. Like, if we need to curve that in, maybe that's workable for us to make sure it doesn't, be within 3 feet of the fence. That garage, right, on the other side of the fence is clearly within 3 feet of the fence. So it's kind of I don't know, I didn't even know that was an ordinance, was detached. Yeah, exactly, right, so, yeah. We could for sure explore that. I can talk to my guy. That doesn't seem like the end of the world, but I must reserve comment until I speak with my wife. Yes. So.
Yeah, but it's in a regular lot. You've got a challenging condition with the alley. You didn't build the house. You didn't create that initial condition, or maybe you would have thought of this as you were building it. So you're stuck with some challenges.
Yeah.
Any other questions? The question I have for you, and I know you probably didn't even think about it, but did you look at retractable awnings? Because they do make them 20 feet wide.
We looked at retractable awnings. To Alex's point earlier, we looked at pergolas, and aesthetically, the house is very modern, and it doesn't look. It's not aesthetically pleasing to have a nice modern house and put a retractable awning on it. At least to my wife, and my wife. Her opinion is definitive. So, yeah, we did look at it, but effectively we thought it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. If the choice was that or nothing, we would just do nothing, and we just leave it as is.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments or questions, I should say? All right. As we stated previously, we don't have a full board. We don't know if we'll have a full board next month.
Okay, I don't want to come back next month.
All right, well, I'll let you sit down. We'll open this up to public comment, which is going to be very brief, and then I'll double check that real quick that you want us to proceed. All right, we'll open up this for public comment. Anyone to speak on this case, please come forward at this time. Don't all you ghosts rush through at first. Going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, public comment is closed. Do you wish us to still proceed? All right, we will come to this side of the board. Motions and/or discussion. Mr. Wolf, you had the hand raised, so I'll let you go first.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? Mr. Klatt seconds. Go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
I mean, this is pretty open and shut, in my opinion. He's asking for, I think it was 120 square feet over the 30% limit. Square footage wise, he still meets it. Again, as somebody who does not have a driveway and access to my property, it can be done off of an alley with commercial. It's my direction is not the same as his, but it's the same basic idea. I definitely understand wanting to use your space well. You know what he and his family want to do with the property seems really reasonable to me, and so for me this is a pretty easy motion to approve.
All right, Mr. Klatt.
Oh, I think there's practical difficulty here based on the irregular lot shape, the adjacency to the alley that's there. It creates a unique condition. Sure, could he clip the corner of that, reduce the burden, but it's still not going to impact it much, and it adds another aesthetic wrinkle to what he's trying to do here. Minimal impact to the neighbors. Notices went out. There's no one here to speak on behalf of the adjacent property to the west. So again, it's an irregular lot. He didn't build the home first, or maybe he would have thought of this prior to that. So I think these are very popular amenities. Nearly every new home we design nowadays, this is one of those big selling pieces. So I think it's a good thing to offer them some privacy in their backyard that's pretty exposed.
Other comments? Anyone want to go through the list of the items for this? For practical? Okay, Mr. Langwell.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I think the property does have unique characteristics. The location's adjacent to the public alley, nearby commercial development, so there are some limitations on the functional use of the property. And the privacy of the rear yard is not typical, or the lack of privacy is not a typical condition of neighboring properties in the area. I think the porch it's an accessory to the principal use. It's not creating additional habitable space, and it's not going to materially alter the characteristics of the neighborhood. The design that he's proposing is in, it relates to the building that's there, so it's not going to look like something completely odd attached to it. It actually fits in the character of it. The lot coverage is a relatively small. It's a small minimum relief to create this kind of a space, and I don't see that this will be contrary to the public interest or and achieve substantial justice for the applicant and the neighboring property owners.
All right. Any other comments?
We're being kicked out, so we got to go.
Lights are turned off. I too will be in favor. You guys have stated it pretty well. If there's no other comments, we'll move to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Unanimous. Motion carries. Congratulations. Best of luck to you. Yep. All right. We'll move on to other business. There is none. Public comment. Anyone here for public comment? Going once? Going twice? All right. No public comment. Who would like to do the motion to get us out of here? Mr. Langweber, your hand's up first.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? All right, I saw Mr. Wolf's second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're done. See you next month.